What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy, CamATL, and welcome back to another NFL video with your boy. In this video, it is the final look. As you guys know, early on in the week, we do a first look lineup, just kind of gut calls, just kind of build a lineup that we like early on in the week before injuries and all that stuff occur throughout the week. And then today, I go back and I go position by position in this video. So in this video, we're going to go position by position, pretty much talk about everybody that has any interest on this entire slate. It's probably going to be about 25 minutes to 30 minutes. Last video was like 40. I'm not going to allow myself to do that again. I'm going to try to go through this a little quicker for y'all. I'm pretty sure majority of you don't sit through a whole 40 minutes. You might fast forward to positions or whatever the hell. But either way, anybody who stayed for the entire like 40 minutes last week, I love you. Appreciate you. But anyway, let's go ahead and get this. This is your final chance to enter your name into the $50 giveaway I do every single week on this channel for everybody who comments down below and is active in the comment section. So make sure you comment anything in that comment section. As well as going back and commenting in the older videos this week if you haven't yet, just to make sure you're covering your bases. I will randomly choose that winner on Monday's video, and let's get it. So we started week 4 out with a bang last night. Easy W in the showdown once again. We have now won. We swept week 3, won everything for week 3, showdowns and main, and now so far we won the showdown for week 4. So it's going to be another week solid week for us. Definitely feeling locked in. Definitely excited about what we got here. We got a lot more injuries now that we're in week 4 of the season. The season's moving along. We got more and more people banged up, more and more opportunities for value to pop in. So we'll talk about certain value options and certain guys who are hurt, look into their status and stuff like that, and kind of just get you guys on a good track, all right? So like I said, I'm going to move a little bit quicker if I can through these positions. I say it every video, but, you know, it is hard to go super quickly when we're going position by position and talking about everybody. But either way, let's go ahead and get straight into it. First of all, first guy I want to talk about is Josh Allen. For now, as I'm talking about him, I'm going to put him in. Josh Allen against Houston. So here's the deal. The matchup is fantastic here. This is a Houston squad that gave up almost 30 to Sam Darnold. Okay, they gave up over 25 to Trevor Lawrence. Shall I say any more? Josh Allen definitely has that 40 in him once again here in this matchup against Houston. The only thing you worry about here is the fact that this should be a one-sided game pretty easily here. I mean, Vegas has the implied total over 16-point favorite for Buffalo. Buffalo is projected to be the highest scoring team on the entire slate. But yeah, it should be one-sided. So like I talked about early in the week, my love for like Singletary, Zach Moss type of guys is because this game could get out of control, and then the game script really turned to why is it on? Oh, I guess because I put a quarterback. This game could really turn to run heavy. But either way, if the game becomes a blowout, it is because Josh Allen probably had a big game. Plain and simple. So Josh Allen is a solid option in GPPs. I really like him. I think he might be you might be able to catch him at lowerish ownership. So Josh Allen's in a solid spot, especially if we get more value open up. Josh Allen, at the end of the day, is one of the safer bets on the entire slate due to the fact that he should fall in the value against Houston, period, and he has crazy upside with what he could do with his feet. If Houston ends up keeping this game any type of close, Josh Allen has huge upside. Okay, so with the way he just played last week, he looks like he's coming into his own. I really want to see him scramble more and get more yards on his with his feet. He hasn't done much of that so far this year. I would love to see him incorporate that this week. But either way, they're at home in Buffalo. I do expect it to be a one-sided game, so maybe Josh Allen's not the game script's not much into throwing the ball second half. But either way, Josh Allen at 8K is pretty damn safe, and he has a solid floor this week. All right. Next up, let's talk about. Let's see. Who do I want to talk about next? Let's talk about Jalen Hurts. I'm going to bounce around, y'all. Let's talk about Jalen Hurts. Here he is, right here. Jalen Hurts is going against Kansas City. This is a great spot here going against Kansas City because the game script is kind of flip-flopped to what I was talking about with Josh Allen. Kansas City should be up here most of this game, and Jalen Hurts should have to throw to keep up here. Okay, they're at home in Philly, so that should give them a little extra motivation, a little bump. Justin Herbert smashed Kansas City for almost 31. Lamar Jackson smashed Kansas City for almost 38, and he did a lot of damage on his feet, which Jalen Hurts could definitely incorporate as well. Jalen Hurts feels very solid to me this week at 6'9". I really like the potential for him in this matchup. Like I said, Lamar Jackson went crazy against them. Let me see what Lamar Jackson did on his feet against Kansas City real quick. 1 second. Lamar Jackson All right, against Kansas City, got 107 rushing yards. So Kansas City is giving it up on the with the feet to quarterbacks. Lamar Jackson got over 100 rushing yards. Like I said, we know Jalen Hurts can run. He's not. He's still working on his throwing accuracy as best he can, but he does have that solid floor with his feet. And at 6'9", it's a solid position here because they should be behind, and he should have to do anything in his power to be able to move the sticks. That means running with his feet, throwing a ton with them being behind, and being at home in Philly. I feel pretty good about Jalen Hurts this week. All right, let's bounce around. We're just going to bounce around, y'all, to guys that are interesting here. Taylor Heineke. All right, Heineke is a guy who has been solid overall in general. I mean, look at his performances. 10 against the Chargers. Let's just put that away. 24 against the Giants, 23 against the solid Buffalo defense. A lot of that came with them getting smacked and him just having to do a lot in garbage time to catch up. Taylor Heineke is going against Atlanta, a much better matchup than he has had the entire season. All right, he's going against an Atlanta team that just is getting gashed. They did okay against Daniel Jones last week, which was kind of surprising. I thought Daniel Jones was locked for 20 at least. He got 16 DraftKings points last week. Taylor Heineke is in a great spot here. He's got some solid weapons around him. I think this is a solid spot here for Heineke at only 5'9". He's under 6K and he's in a dome. He's not at home, but he is in a dome facing a bad Atlanta defense and only 5'9". So Heineke is definitely in play as well. On the other side of that Kansas City Philly game, Patrick Mahomes, obviously, I have to talk about him each and every week. He is 8-1, and I do probably prefer Josh Allen in this spot, but I believe the spread is a lot closer here. Let me see. It's a 7 point. Kansas City are 7 point favorites. So it is a lot closer of a projected game here for Patty Mahomes. He is going to Philly to play in this game. Mahomes has been consistent like he always is. 36 week 1, 28 week 2, 24 week 3. He's a consistent quarterback, plain and simple. Especially if you love a Kansas City receiver, go Patty Mahomes. If you love like Diggs or something like I wouldn't go Patty Mahomes naked. You feel what I'm saying? I wouldn't go Patty Mahomes unless I'm pairing him with Kelsey or Hill or something like that. I would play Josh Allen naked though. No homo. All right, I would play him naked with no wide receivers. I don't really care. I don't have to pair Josh Allen with receivers because he can do it with his feet and he spreads the ball around pretty well. Jalen Hurts, same situation. You can play him naked as well. Taylor Heineke, you might even be able to play him naked. Who knows? You know what I mean? But either way, Patrick Mahomes, I would pair up, honestly. For Patty Mahomes. So if you do play Patty Mahomes, it needs to be because you're playing one of his receivers. All right. What else? Let's see. Who else sticks out? Let's talk about Dak. Dak's been balling, dude. Dak has been looking pretty damn good here. He's at home in Dallas, which is great. Dallas plays pretty damn solid at home. They looked amazing putting up 41 against Philly's supposed to be solid defense last week. Now Dak only got 21. There was a lot of damage done by Zeke in this game. He only had to throw 26 times. He completed 21 of them. He's just incredibly efficient. He got 3 touchdowns. Imagine him having to throw more than 26 times, though. You know what I mean? But that's the problem here. Is we love Dak in situations where games should be extremely competitive because we really want him to have to throw to keep up. Now, Dallas's defense has been doing much better this year. Last year, Dallas's defense was getting destroyed all the time. So playing Dallas to play catch up was great. You know what I mean? But now with Micah Parsons in town and Trayvon Diggs being one of the best cornerbacks in the league already, Trayvon Diggs is shadowing number one receivers and shutting them down legitimately. You know what I mean? Micah Parsons is solid. So that Dallas defense overall has had huge upgrades. Finally, they made some solid draft picks for defense and really filled that weak point in this Dallas team. And they are a dangerous, dangerous squad right now. But for fantasy purposes, it kind of hurts a little bit because if Dallas is always going to be up, we're going to see a whole lot more of Zeke and a lot less attempts out of Dak than we really would want. And Carolina's defense is not too bad. Okay, so Dak Prescott's only 6'7". Vegas does have that implied total, like the third highest on the entire slate, or fourth after the Rams. So if you want to go Dak at home, that's fine. I don't love it seeing that Carolina's defense has been pretty damn solid, and Dallas's defense should be able to hold Carolina without Christian McCaffrey pretty in check as well. So I don't expect Dak to have to do many more attempts than he's done the last couple weeks. 27 attempts against the Chargers, 26 attempts versus Philly. He's just not having to throw a shit ton. So yeah, he can be efficient and get those touchdowns still in low attempts like he did last week. I mean, he still got 3 touchdowns in those small attempts and got 21. But at 6'7", there's other guys around there that I'd probably prefer. But I had to talk about Dak because there are some receivers that I like for Dallas once again in their matchups. So, and I'll talk about them. But yeah, so there's Dak. What else? Let's talk about this Arizona game, man, because I'm a huge fan of this Rams team. I'm a huge fan of this Rams team. Matthew Stafford has looked amazing. This Rams team is dangerous. Not only is their defense legit with Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey balling, but they are putting up points, and their stadium is beautiful. I'm going to say that every single week because it is. All right, they're at home in Los Angeles, going against Arizona. Solid matchup that Kirk Cousins dropped over 25 DraftKings points against. This is a solid spot here, and this is a position where, and this is the reason why if it comes down between like Dak and Stafford, I'm going to lean Stafford because not only is the total for the Rams higher than Dallas, but this game, I'm projecting to stay a lot closer and a lot higher scoring. Arizona is going to score. Kyler Murray has been legit. DeAndre Hopkins is a beast. Jalen Ramsey is going to do great against Hopkins. So these other guys for that team, Rondale Moore and other guys, are going to be solid options for Arizona. But also, Ramsey hasn't really been shadowing 100% this year either. So that's something to look into and see what's going to happen there. If Ramsey's going to shadow Hopkins, which honestly, like if I'm the Rams, I go ahead and say, yeah, do it. Or, let him keep bouncing around. And if Hopkins is tearing y'all up first half, then put Ramsey to shadow him. But might as well just keep him in check from the jump and have Ramsey on him. But either way, this should be a good game in a dome at home for Matthew Stafford. And with the plethora of targets that this dude has for him, he's always in play. And at 7K, he's still in play. Who else do I want to talk about real quick? Let's talk about Russell Wilson real quick. Russell Wilson's going against San Francisco. Seattle is underdogs in this game, believe it or not. All right, Seattle, they are underdogs in this game. They are 1-2 this season. Russell Wilson has had to do a lot the last couple games. 31 passing attempts, 32 passing attempts. That's great to see because we really want him to have to throw the ball. Seattle used to be a very run-heavy team. They used to nonstop just pound the rock with Carson, and they were more of a run-heavy team. Now they're starting to edge towards having to throw the ball. Jared Goff scored 33 DraftKings points damn near against this San Francisco team. All right, they did pretty good holding Aaron Rodgers to 19 last week. Jalen Hurts to 22. But either way, Wilson's got some huge targets in Lockett and Metcalf. It is a beautiful spot for Russell Wilson. I like Russell Wilson at 7-1 as well. He's a solid option this week as well. So, who else did I want to mention? Let me see if there's any other quarterbacks that I want to mention that stick out to me. Not too interested in Sam Darnold with that Dallas defense looking as legit as they are, even though Darnold is 6K. I prefer Heineke against Atlanta. Um, Anybody else? Anybody else? You know what? Let's see. Keep an eye on the Chicago situation. We don't know exactly who's going to start here at quarterback. If Justin Fields, if Andy Dalton once again can't play, that stupid coach, Matt Nagy, I get it. Fields sucked in his first start. I get it. Okay? But at the end of the day, this kid's your future. Let him just work it out. You know what I mean? Let him go out there, get those reps, and work it out and get better as time goes on. But either way, whatever. The coach came out and said Andy Dalton is their starting quarterback as long as he's healthy. He was remain limited participant in practice, so if Dalton ends up missing, Fields once again will go. He got a full practice in, so we're not worried about his questionable tag with his thumb. He's fine. Justin Fields could do absolute. This is the get right spot for him. He struggled last week. Obviously, he struggled last week against Cleveland's defense. He only ended up getting 68 yards on 20 pass attempts, which is not very good at all. He struggled a lot. They were putting a ton of pressure on him. That offensive line is not doing him any favors. But going against Detroit here, this is a great get-right spot for Justin Fields at only 5-2. So if Justin Fields starts, I do love Justin Fields. And Allen Robinson, has probably the best individual wide receiver matchup in the entire slate. So it's a good pairing with Fields and Allen Robinson for GPPs. Let's switch over to running back. I've already been going 15 minutes, dude. I'm going for 40 minutes once again. See how it goes? All right, anyways, let's go. So I'm going to go through them. Let's start off first. Let's talk Derrick Henry going against the Jets. Love Derrick Henry here in this matchup, man. This is a Jets squad that gave up almost 28 to Christian McCaffrey. Plain and simple in cash games, Derrick Henry is as safe as they can possibly come. 35 carries week 2, 28 carries week 3. The dude is just absolutely eating. He got you 22 DraftKings points last week and didn't even find the end zone. So Derrick Henry is an amazing cash game play always. Okay, now with Christian McCaffrey being out, I don't have a ton of love for his backup options. Honestly, the Dallas defense is pretty solid. But if you're gonna play any of those backup guys, let's see, Chuba Hubbard is a decent option. Hubbard got some targets in the pass game. I do expect Carolina to be behind here, and with Christian McCaffrey out, they need some help. So they're going to look to DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, and Hubbard a ton here. Hubbard got 5 targets week 3 against Houston, so that shows that he will get some targets in the pass game. Expect that or more here against Dallas, and it's a good spot for Chuba Hubbard here at 5'9". He's okay. I'm not going to have a ton of exposure to it, but he's okay. I'll give you that. All right, let's talk about Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara, this is the first game back to this New Orleans stadium. New Orleans is going to be hyped up this week. Plus, Kamara finally got a solid amount of carries, 24 carries week 3, 89 rushing yards and a touchdown. He's not getting a ton of targets in the pass game, man, which is kind of unfortunate. He got 8 targets against Carolina week 2, but outside of that, 4 targets week 1 and 4 targets week 3. We want to see more than that out of Alvin Kamara. So I lean Derrick Henry when I got to choose between the two, but Alvin Kamara should have a breakout game here. It is, like I said, it is the first game in New Orleans back to their stadium, and there's going to be some excitement there. All right, people are going to be hyped the hell up there, so expect Alvin Kamara to really show up here. It's going to be a ton of emotion in that game, so I really do like Alvin Kamara for that reason alone. All right, now let's talk DeAndre Swift, because he has been getting limited a little bit in practice, but I do love his potential here against Chicago. DeAndre Swift has been getting a good amount of targets, and that's great for DraftKings full point PPR. He got 11 targets week 1, 8 catches. 7 targets week 3, caught all 7. So the thing is Detroit's been getting behind and having to use a ton of DeAndre Swift. Now, this game could go either way. Detroit could be up in this one, or they could be behind. Either way, DeAndre Swift's going to get exposure. At 6'2", he's fine. His practice reps have been limited, so keep an eye on him. See if he's even able to go. If he misses, there's going to be big bumps to other people, but I expect Swift will probably be in there. All right. Let's see. Who else do we want to talk about here? Let's talk about Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb going against Minnesota. All right, so Minnesota's defense gave up over 28 to Joe Mixon in week 1. This is a solid spot for Chubb here. He got 22 carries in week 3. The only issue here is that you got Kareem Hunt, who vultures a lot from him here. So, I mean, when it comes to spending up at running back, I do like Chubb's price at 7K. It feels pretty decent. But, and I want to mention him because the matchup against Minnesota is good, and he could have a big game. At 7K, I like his price okay, but he's not super high on my list of plays this week. David Montgomery. This is a get-right spot for David Montgomery against Detroit, man, and expect if Fields starts to really lean heavily on the run game. That is definitely how you handle these rookie quarterbacks. Run, run, run. Try to find some success on the ground, open the pass up, make life a little easier for these quarterbacks, especially with a guy who can move like Fields. I mean, his floor should be pretty damn solid. All right, so you got to make this kid comfortable. You got to give him time. You know what I mean? You got to open things up a little bit for him. The only thing they were doing last week is throwing the ball. So defense pretty knew what was happening. So you got to open up the run game. And expect David Montgomery to get a good bit of touches here. He got 20 carries week 2 against Cincinnati. I'm envisioning another type of game like that. I'm expecting another 20 carries or so, and David Montgomery's got huge upside against a bad Detroit run D. All right, Zach Moss and Singletary are both in play still. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going against a tough Philly run D, but Zeke did just drop over 26. So he is an okay option at 5'4". Najee Harris, that Pittsburgh squad is banged up. Najee Harris got so many targets, dude. Najee Harris got 19 targets in the pass game last week. 14 catches for 102 receiving yards. This dude was getting targeted every single down. And against Green Bay, they should be behind here. So Najee Harris at 6'8", I could understand playing him. I don't expect near 19 targets again. So temper your expectations. But Najee Harris is fine with the amount of targets he's getting. I talked about Chuba Hubbard. Anybody else? Dalvin Cook. Let's keep an eye out for Dalvin Cook this week. Dalvin got limited work in again at practice, so he's raising up his practice reps. Now, if Dalvin misses, Madison's going to be a lock once again. He's just a very solid option to play when Dalvin is out, so you got to go Madison most likely if he misses. But keep an eye on that. All right, it's a big deal. So Dalvin Cook situation needs to be kept an eye on. Right now, I don't have an answer for you. Jonathan Taylor also is having his reps capped, so pay attention to Jonathan Taylor. Outside of that, we can talk Mike Davis. Mike Davis is a guy that hasn't really broke out for Atlanta yet. He's been fairly consistent because he gets involved in the pass game. So if you just need 10 out of a running back, he'll get you that. He got 10 week 1, 13 week 2, 11 week 3. If you just want that floor of 10, he can get you that. He has the upside. He's shown it last season. He got 29 week 5 last year against Atlanta. He got 26 against Denver week 14. I mean, shit, he got over 20 week 3 and week 4 too. So he's got that potential. Obviously, they need to get him going a little bit. They need to add him even more in the pass game. 6 targets, 7 targets, and 4 targets last 3 weeks. So I'm expecting over 10 carries here, another 5+ targets for him. And if he can get in the end zone like he hasn't done all season, it's going to be great for him at only 5'1". All right? All right, what else? That's about it. Let's talk about Darrell Henderson real quick, and then we're going to move on. Darrell Henderson's going against Arizona, so keep an eye on this. If he misses, Sonny Michel is going to be a fantastic option. Henderson did practice once again limited, so we'll have to pay attention to this. He's got some rib injury, which is something you got to really take care of as a running back because you take shots to those ribs oftentimes. So keep an eye on Henderson. If he misses, Sonny Michel is going to be great. If he plays and he's not going to be limited in any way, I like him at 5'6" as well in that game. That's about it. Let's move to wide receiver. Let's keep this thing moving. All right. I'm going to go through this fairly quickly. Davante Adams is in play against Pittsburgh. Love Davante. I shouldn't have to explain this much. 18 targets last week. That's plain and simple why Davante is week in, week out a fantastic play because he gets a shit ton of targets. Now, his price dropped. 8.3 week 1, 8.5 week 2, 8.1 week 3. Now he's 7.9. So his price dropped. I like Davante Adams once again. Let's talk DJ Moore. DJ Moore has been one of the highest targeted receivers in the entire league. Now you take Christian McCaffrey out of that Carolina offense. Now, this is a trickiest situation, and this could be a sneaky spot to get lower owned and have a boom week this week. So Trayvon Diggs has been following teams number ones. All right, he's been following wide receiver number ones, and he's been doing a fantastic job against them. Now, if he shadows DJ Moore could possibly get held fairly in check at 6'6". If DJ Moore busts, his ownership will be high because Christian McCaffrey's out. He's already getting targeted a shit ton. So he should, and they should be behind here in a dome against Dallas. So I like DJ Moore, but if you want to get sneaky in GPPs, getting off of DJ Moore and hoping that Trayvon Diggs is able to continue his dominance up and shadows DJ Moore and holds him in check. And opens up Robbie Anderson, who I love in GPPs. Nobody's playing Robbie Anderson because he's let him down every single week so far. But Robbie Anderson and Darnold have a little history together. And if Trayvon Diggs is doing his best Jalen Ramsey shutdown impression against DJ Moore, that's going to open up Robbie Anderson a ton. So not only is that going to negate the high-owned DJ Moore, but that's going to have Anderson go off, and you're going to automatically be close. You're going to have that chance at a milli. Plain and simple. You are going to have that. It's that kind of move that gives you the chance at a milli. Fading off of an incredibly high-owned DJ Moore. If Trayvon Diggs is able to hold him in check and he busts somehow, and Robbie Anderson has a huge game here, which he has a much better matchup in this matchup. If Trayvon Diggs does shadow DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson has a great matchup here. So Anderson could go off at 5-1. Do not sleep on Robbie Anderson. There is potential for DJ Moore to get shadowed by Trayvon Diggs, but either way, I want to mention DJ Moore at 6'6", one of the highest targeted receivers in the league. Now with no Christian McCaffrey, you have to consider it for sure. And it's in a dome, and they should be behind, so it's fine. But in GPP, I wanted to mention Robbie. Terry McLaurin going against Atlanta is fantastic. I don't have to explain this much. Atlanta's defense sucks overall, plain and simple. McLaurin's getting targeted like crazy. I expect a repeat of week 2. Week 2, he dropped 30 against the Giants, got 14 targets. I'm expecting a big game out of Terry McLaurin here at 6'9". I love him. Obviously, Cooper Kupp week in and week out is in play. He has a solid matchup in the slot against Byron Murphy, who's gotten just destroyed so far. So Kupp is solid once again at 7-8. Odell Beckham Jr. is in a fantastic spot with Jarvis Landry being out in this matchup against Minnesota. Patrick Peterson, he could see some Patrick Peterson, but I'm not too worried about that. At the end of the day, Odell Beckham is going to get a good bit of targets here. And at 5'8", he's in a solid spot. DK Metcalf just beat them for 26 DraftKings points almost. So Odell Beckham is in a solid spot at 5'8". He could really do damage here in a game in a dome where they might be playing from behind here with Landry out. Those are the type of spots you want to take advantage of. Deebo Samuel has been one of the highest targeted receivers in the league as well. Solid matchup here against Seattle. Justin Jefferson almost dropped 30 against them last week. So Deebo Samuel's in a fantastic spot. I love him again. If you go Josh Allen and want to pair him, obviously Stephon Diggs is always in play. Like I said, we don't know how long they're going to have to even throw the ball in this game, but Stephon Diggs is solid. Who else? Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper is in a solid spot here. They're at home in a dome. He's got to get right sooner or later. This is a solid spot for him. Pay attention to him. Make sure his ribs fully start to heal. It looks like they kind of took it easy with him last week with his ribs still kind of hurting him. Pay attention to that situation. But Amari Cooper is going to have another breakout game sooner than later. So I wanted to mention that. Calvin Ridley's in a solid spot. Cole Beasley is also a cheaper option that you can match up with your boy if you play him at quarterback. Jalen Waddle's in a solid spot. Kenny Moore's been giving it up so far this year, so Jalen Waddle's been getting some good targets. That's about it, man. I pretty much talked about him. Let's switch over to tight end. All right, tight end. Obviously, always on the top of tight end is going to be Travis Kelce. I love Travis Kelce this week. He's in a solid spot as well. George Kittle did not practice on Thursday, so pay attention to that. He has a sore calf, so if he ends up missing, we're gonna have some value open though. But he doesn't miss many games, so Kittle should be all right. So Logan Thomas against Atlanta is in a solid option. Dawson Knox for Buffalo has been pretty damn consistent. He's got an 8, 9, and 14. He's only 3-6. So Dawson Knox is in play. Noah Fant in a game where Denver should be behind, but Denver's been amazing this year. So I don't know, man. They dominated New York, Jacksonville, and the Jets, but that's New York, Jacksonville, and the Jets. They're not going to dominate Baltimore unless Lamar Jackson misses this game somehow. So Noah Fant should get some exposure there. And a good matchup, by the way. Baltimore's been giving it up to tight ends, partly being because they faced Waller and Kelce, but they did a damn good job against Hawkinson last week. So Kyle Pitts is going to get it together eventually, so he's okay as well. But yeah, my main options are going to be Travis Kelce, Logan Thomas, Dawson Knox, Dalton Schultz. I like again. Dude's getting some good run in Dallas. And that's about it. Anybody else? Zach Ertz came alive. We had him in the showdown last week. That turned out fantastic. He's at home in Philly now, going against Kansas City, where they should be behind. So Ertz is interesting at 3-5, especially if you have Jalen Hurts. Evan Ingram is a guy that I've had a lot in my lineup so far this week. Evan Ingram is in a solid spot here against Demario Davis. Giants are banged up at receiver. Ingram should see some good targets, so pay attention to that as well. Evan Ingram should get some involvement in this game as well, and I think New Orleans is going to do well offensively this week, so making the Giants really have to throw a good bit. So Evan Ingram's going to get involved there. And let's switch over to defense and move right along, y'all. All right. So defenses. So, one spot I really love as a punt is the Detroit Lions, going against the rookie quarterback or Andy Dalton, whoever he's going to face. I love Chicago, don't get me wrong, but for a punt defense at 2-2, the Lions, you can do worse than that. The Colts against Miami, you can do them as well. The Saints at home, you're going to have to spend some money, but the Saints at home should look really, really good. Like I said, there should be a ton of energy here in this game. The Saints could look amazing, and their defense is solid. 15, 6, and 20 the last 3 weeks. I mean, the Saints are putting up elite fantasy player production, and they're only 3-8. You know what I mean? Like if you felt confident that you were going to get 15 plus out of somebody, and they were only 3-8, they would be a lock. So the Saints are in a fantastic spot once again here. Um, they've had over 15 DraftKings points in 2 of the 3 games so far. They're in their first game back to their stadium. There's going to be so much energy. That place is going to be shaking. So I really, really like their spot for the Saints. If you can spend up, Saints is where to go at 3-8. All right. Outside of that, the Cowboys defense is interesting to me as well, because if Trayvon Diggs is able to lock down DJ Moore and do a great job limiting him, that you're taking away. I mean, Carolina doesn't have much left. You got Robbie Anderson, and if Hubbard can get it together, maybe Hubbard. But you got McCaffrey out already. You got DJ Moore having a tough time against Trayvon if that happens. Cowboys defense at home could be great, man, and they've been solid. 7, 7, and 13 the first 3 games of the year. So once again, they're solid punt at 2-6. I really like their spot as well. And that's about it, y'all. We were able to get through at 31 minutes this week. Thank you guys for joining me as always. I hope I was able to answer every question that you guys have. I might go live tomorrow night, kind of, look over the slate with y'all once again. I might have a live show for that. I'm not 100%, but we'll see. Depends how much news is coming out and how much I need to stay locked in or not. But if things are pretty self-explanatory and feeling good, then I will go live Saturday. I'll let you guys know definitively if I'm going to do that on Twitter. So follow me at Cam_ATL. Thank you guys for joining me as always. Drop a like down below. Comment anything to enter your name into that $50 giveaway. And let's get this money, y'all. Good luck.